So today's project is a couple old chisels. I bought these a while back in an antique store and they've just been laying around. They're not terribly rusty. They're not, I can't see any real pitting on them, but they don't have a handle. So I'm going to try and cut a couple new handles. We'll get them in here. I'm going to soak them in a Vapo Rust, a neat product. It's non-toxic and it's not harmful to the environment, and you can reuse it, so it's pretty cost effective, and it does a great job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little bit of it, put these down a little tray, pour some Vapor Rust, and let them set overnight, and then we'll get them out tomorrow. We'll scrub them up with steel wool and a wire brush, and then we'll cut us some handles. All right, we've let these chisels soak overnight, and now we'll see what we got.
Traveled far, playing by car, sing my songs and I play guitar. Baby, this world ain't the same without you. Rain or shine, day or night.
A fair amount of pitting on the back here. Doesn't look very deep, and I guess I'll end up grinding that out with the stones. That should take a while, but all said and done, I think we'll have a nice looking paring chisel here when we're done. Let's get to work on this next one.
Don't let the idea of my baby being down there with broken shoes. Might say that I'm acting a little crazy, baby. I just care about you. Maybe, baby, it's just another way of saying I love you.
So, they still have a lot of work yet to go on them, but what I'll probably do is I'll grind the back a little bit more, or bring it down with the stone a little bit more to get some of that pitting out. There is no pitting up closer to the blade where the blade is, so I'm okay leaving that if I need to. What I'll do now is probably use the Tormek to get these down to where I want them to be as far as depth, because this one has a little bit of a back bevel on it that I don't want on there. So I have to grind that back down. And this one probably, there's a couple nicks in it. I'm gonna grind that back a little bit. So that's time consuming. What I've done in the past is I've used the Tormek to bring it down to where I want it. And because I don't want that dished bevel on there, I'll then take it to the stone and then polish that out, hone that out. And that's pretty time efficient to do it that way. But we'll get that done, then put the other bevels on it, and that will take care of the blades. They're in good shape. So the next thing I need to do is figure out the tapers on these sockets so that I can turn a handle for them. So first of all, I'm going to do is I'm going to take this inside calipers and get them down pretty tight. So that is about 1/4 of an inch and down about 1 inch and 15/16. So what I do is draw my taper. So with that again. Inch and 5/16. That's wrong. Inch and 5/16. And at 1 inch and 5/16, it is 5/16 in diameter. So then at the very outside of this taper, and rarely are these things perfectly round, so I'm going to just kind of get a feel for this. It's about right. And that is 9/16. And that. So this is on I think it's TH Witherby. So this is the Witherby. Now, obviously those are estimates, and what I'll do is as I turn the piece down, I will bring these and offer them up to the taper as I go to make sure it's setting in there and seated really well. So what I'm going to do is I've got a piece of walnut. I'm going to turn it into a square, turn it into an octagon, and then cut this in half. I don't need real long handles on these. So cut this in half and turn to handles. All right, so I cut that block square. It squared up the ends. It's a little under 2-inch square. I'll show you a trick I learned this past week. I was at a conference in Williamsburg for working wood in the 18th century. Christopher Swartz was talking about chairs, stick chairs at that conference, and he showed a trick to make an octagon out of a square. So you put your bisecting centers, you take the square and you come over to the center from a diagonal, and then you can use that distance and you mark each side as such. And we'll go all the way around. Don't give me my octagon. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this, mount it in my vise, plane off these corners and make it. But something exceedingly enjoyable about planing these off. Another project I'm working on. So now I've got the octagon. I'll cut this in half and make my 2 pieces of handle out of that. Perfect. All right, so now we're at the lathe. I took that block of wood, I cut it into octagons, cut it into 2 6-inch long pieces. I'd like to have had some more length to it, but that's the piece I had, so that's the piece I'm working with. Got it center punched, drilled at the end, chucked up here. It's all on the lathe now, and we're getting ready to turn. So I had to lay out a design. This is all. I did the tapers, got those figured out, and then I had to work on the design of the piece. So I got about 6 inches in length. So with the taper taken out of it, I've got just about 4 1/4 inches to work with. Again, not sure it's going to be a long enough handle, but we're going to see what it comes up with. I got a little design I want to use for the handle that I got off of a picture of an antique chisel, and I'm going to try and turn that. So first of all, what we'll do is we'll turn this round and then start on the design. We'll start at the tapers first, get the taper in place, and then get the rest of the handle going. That's where the taper is going to be. I'm going to leave that alone, so now I can come back here and work on how I'm going to design this. And I just don't think my initial design is going to work very well, because that is really a pretty short handle. So I think I'm just going to make it kind of rounded at the end and maybe put a little bit of design into it, but not going to have much. All right, so what I'm going to do is leave this large, and then I'm going to take that back end of it and round it over, sand this, and work this up here a little bit more before I start to take that taper down. This set at just about here over 5/16. Maybe at 30 seconds over the 5/16. And now I'm going to bring that down here on the end. That's it, except for this part. So let's see how that turns out and make sure it fits the, ouch. So yeah, I have to do something with this, but I can get that, I think, whittled or sanded down. Now, actually, kind of like that feel of that. Because this blade is such a long paring chisel, what I want it for, I think that might work out just fine, that length. So, I'm not sure. May look a little silly, but I kind of like it like that. So, if you look at these blades are, that's a good bit longer than that, but no. I'm pleased. So there you have it. I took some old chisels that I bought in an antique store, cleaned the rust off of them, have been grinding and polishing the steel on them. Still got a little bit more work to get the blade sharp, but got the handles turned. Turned the other handle a little bit different than the first one. I do really, happy accident, I really like the way the end of the chisel feels with the kind of hand chiseled, using a spoke shave and chisel to get the end off. It's almost kind of a faceted look. I did the same with this one. Probably wasn't as necessary, but it did kind of, I like the way it looks. So you'll notice the two chisel handles are different. I like turning different shaped handles, just trying different things. There's none of them that I look at and just go, oh, that's the handle I've always got to use. So doing different ones are kind of fun. But also, I've heard people make the comment that if you have different handle or different shaped handles and they're laying on the bench with a lot of other chisels, it's easier to recognize the one that you're looking for. So that might be a bit of an advantage. With that same batch of chisels that I bought a much larger one and put a much larger handle on it. It's a little bit fancy. I kind of like this one because I use it kind of as a chisel to carve with, and also can be acted as a kind of a slick for larger mortises. This turned out really well. It had actually more pitting than the others. Got it down polished pretty well. Still a little bit of pits, but it is razor sharp, so I have a lot of hope in getting the other ones there. It took a while. This one probably took me a good couple hours to get it ground down and sharpened the way I wanted it, but it was a worthy investment, and I think the other ones will be too. So if you ever get an opportunity to pick up some old chisels, don't worry about the handles. They're easy to make. Very satisfying project to bring out some nice new chisels out of some really crusty looking old ones. So thanks for stopping by.